Hello there. My name's Mark, aka The Canardian, and I am joined by my trusty co-pilot, Charlie Curtin, for episode 29 of the Holocron Chronicles. Charlie, how you doing tonight?
Oh, staring at 30. Ouch! We'll make
So
a
close.
good go of it, though. We'll make a
So
good go of
close.
it. It'll be
Absolutely.
okay. It'll
Absolutely. Now, this is, for anyone watching the video, this is going to be an unusual episode that you'll notice right off the bat that it's only Charlie and I, and we haven't done this in, it's got to be close to a year. I'm saying January, February of last year, we started with the guests and just kept on rolling. Right?
Yeah,
So,
we started. We made it. The menage a trois, as it were. Yowza!
Yeah.
but we made a good go of it. It is good to eat the ebb and flow, and we get a lot of great voices. I think so. Yeah, I think this is good.
Yeah, absolutely. And the guests are not stopping. I was talking to someone tonight, already starting to line up some other stuff for future weeks. But for this one, we're looking back a little bit on 2021. We're looking forward a bit to what we're excited for and what we're looking forward to 2022. And of course, we're talking a little bit about the Book of Boba Fett, aka, as it's called in my house, the complete written works of Robert Fettuccini.
In a lot of ways, that kind of matches up with that the mandolin beats that I feel like I was hearing on the show. It was a little fettuccine, I think.
Yeah, a little bit. My wife's been calling it that, and it's caught on 100%. It's caught on. So it started off as the Book of Robert Fettuccini, and then it's grown to like the complete written works or the collected anthology of Robert Fettuccini. At one point we were saying like the complete collected works of Sir Robert Fettuccini, just to make it sound a little fancy. Yeah. We've been all over the place, but
lords and ladies. Yes, exactly. And I even saw somewhere on Twitter or whatever, somewhere or Twitter or Facebook, someone was scraping about, well, I want to see this book. Where's the Book of Boba Fett? It's like, come on, really? Is it really got to be that literal? Beat it over the head? I don't know. I think it's a metaphor, like Star Wars does so good with metaphors, instead of just flying ships and explosions and things of that nature. But
well,
we will see. We will see.
They are doing chapters. Books have chapters, so they're giving us something there. And this is kind of a good segue into looking back at 2021, because if you look at the amount of stuff that Star Wars did in 2021, so much of it was print and published, and books of all sizes and all genres for all ages. And there's everything from, I'm sure there next year or this year, there could be an actual Book of Boba Fett, because we got some wild stuff that was, everything from a cookbook to continuing on with the High Republic. So, I want to get into that. But first, before we do that, I have to stop for a second and share some good news. I think it's kind of cool. I think it's kind of neat. So first off, if you've been listening if this is your first episode, or if you've been with us from the start, thank you so much. One thing I'd love to start in the new year is trying to get some more ratings on iTunes or Apple Podcasts. And now you can do ratings on Spotify as well. So it'd be awesome to get some ratings. But I do have to share this. I got like an email, like weekly update kind of thing. And I don't know who these people are that are listening in Fiji.
But
if you're listening and you're in Fiji, I love you. You are fantastic.
This is news to me. So I'm listening with open.
I know this is. I haven't dropped this one on you. So we are in the TV and film podcast category on Apple Podcasts. We are ranked number 32 overall in Fiji for some reason.
Oh my goodness!
And in the after show category, we are ranked number 5.
After show? Do we have an after show?
Like talking about like after shows, like we're doing today, like a recap of a show.
Okay.
We are ranked number 5. And I shared this with my wife, and she said, "Yeah, but like, how many podcasts are available in Fiji?" And I said 4.
Yes,
because
exactly.
we're ranked number 5, right? But No, this is amazing. So if you're listening in Fiji, uh, send me a tweet or an email
Please.
or something somehow. Like just like reach out because you guys are
Right.
amazing. Whoever's
I
listening in
know.
Fiji,
I like it.
and for the first time, I've noticed we cracked the Apple Podcasts rankings in Great Britain. So we're
Woo!
ranked
Nice.
110 in after shows in Great Britain. So thanks to our British listeners.
So crazy. Oh
But
my gosh.
the
I
Fiji one, man, number
yeah,
5, like that's that's
that's
that's something.
crazy.
Yeah.
Yeah, we are always working harder, to get a little bit better. Mark is a wizard, but I'm a nascent. I'm a noob when it comes to Twitter. I'm really, on there and trying to blow it up. And I picked up a lot more followers just in the last few days just by being active. But over on the Secret Friends Unite Twitter handle, please hit us up and let us
Mhm.
know if you're listening to the show, if you enjoy the show, if you have thoughts about the show. Talk about it, and we'll talk about you right here on the show. Believe it or not. So,
Absolutely, absolutely.
yeah, that's awesome.
Yeah. So with that, let's get back to it. Let's look back at 2021. Like I said, we had a whole lot of stuff. The High Republic was kicked off in 2020, but really hit a great stride this year. We had a ton of comics. The Bad Batch premiered on Disney Plus. We got Star Wars Biomes, the vehicle fly-throughs. Um, we got the Series X and PlayStation 5 upgraded versions of Jedi Fallen Order, which I went back and played, loved it.
Hmm.
We got some cool classic like Legends shows and movies like Droids and Ewoks and stuff added to
Right.
Disney Plus.
Ooh, I
Um,
tried to I tried to sit through an episode of Droids, and that was a little bit much for me.
it's rough. We also got some cool again behind the scenes stuff, not just biomes and vehicle fly-throughs and that kind of stuff, but we got the making of Mandalorian season 2, like especially the finale thing on Disney Plus.
Hmm.
Star Wars Visions, more amazing animated things. The Galaxy of Sounds kind of fit in with the biomes and vehicle fly-throughs. Lego Star Wars Terrifying Tales.
Awesome stuff.
um, Under the Helmet, the Legacy of Boba Fett, right before the
Hmm.
again the big drop right before the end of the year with the Book of Boba Fett premiere. I'm sure I glazed over some stuff. That was just some stuff that stood out to me
Right.
as I was going through. And like I said, there's so many. Like if you look on Wikipedia or something, like it's the list. Like every month there was dozens of things that were published in multiple languages. So it's amazing. Charlie, 2021, what stood out to you?
Oh my goodness. I struggled because I went into it loving the comics a heck of a lot more than I did. But I would still say, and it's still kind of worth going back to. I really did enjoy the Prime Star Wars comic. Those post Return of the Jedi stories. Even though again, it got too granular to the point with me with the War of the Bounty Hunters, where it was like, now we're fighting over Han Solo's carbonite block, and it's this thing and that thing, and it got a little too granular. But the part of it that I really embraced going into was kind of Luke Skywalker's journey from Cloud City through up through the kind of undisclosed amount of time when we meet him again at the beginning of Return of the Jedi. So I really did like that. I was tuned into the High Republic, and I will admit that I dropped off of it a bit, but I like the nice, clean, lines of a doco, of like a documentary. I've become a little bit. I don't know if that's something you kind of pick up a little bit more with age, but the making of the Mandalorian and the Under the Helmet and the biomes and the fly throughs, I ended up enjoying all that stuff very much.
So okay, so Charlie, for anyone watching, they just noticed that we shifted, we changed. For anyone listening,
Time is passing.
yes,
Woo!
for anyone listening, this is a weird jump because you were just talking about comic books, the High Republic, everything with Luke Skywalker, and the amazing documentaries on Disney Plus that we saw this year. And then I had to rudely interrupt and leave because Finn, my little guy, got sick, and I was up pretty much all night with him. So this is for us. This is the next day. For anyone listening, hopefully seamlessly edited. But I figured I'd put
Oh,
this little
magic.
disclosure in there just because for the video version, it's going to be awkward if I don't. So audio listeners, sorry you have to put up with this little gap, but there we go. So yeah, Charlie, I totally agree with what you said about the comic series. We were both trying to keep up, especially at the first of last year, and there was so much going on. I really did like the High Republic stuff, and I probably will get back when there's kind of a collected edition, a graphic novel version of the High Republic. Because reading one thing at a time as it's released and trying to keep up with the novels and trying to
Mhm.
keep up with other comic series, 100% agree. I fell off one and then I kind of fell off everything, right?
Right.
Because it was kind of an all or nothing bit. And then we both kind of moved on to other things. But 100%, I don't know if it was an age thing. You did say, like, as you grow with age, you appreciate the documentaries. And maybe
Right.
it's the same thing for me. But I absolutely loved the documentaries that we got, especially the Mandalorian season 2 finale one,
Mhm.
the Under the
Mhm.
Helmet, the biomes, vehicle fly through, they were fine for me, but those ones really, really caught me. I loved the Bad Batch. I did end up going through and replaying most of Jedi Fallen Order with the
Mhm.
Series X update, which was awesome because I loved that game anyway. And then Star Wars Visions. I know that didn't grab you, but for me, that was like just Star Wars being goofy. I'm sad some of it's not considered canon. I'm
Yeah,
happy some
that's
of it is not
that's
considered canon.
that's
It's weird.
such a fuzzy line for me. And again, it's a personal preference. You got people out there who say, "I'll shoot your cannon out of a cannon," and I just like a good story or whatever. And I I'm a consistent. It's kind of the basic elements of trust.
Mm,
Consistency plus time. Canon is trust to me because I can trust that I can wrap my arms around something and I feel like I have a handle on the story and not like, well, there was this other thing,
hmm
this thing and that thing, and stuff contradicts itself, and so you can't have a single focus narrative. And I guess that is, and again, it's personal preference. For me, I like that single focus narrative. But there are people, but again, show me somebody who can tell me that all of the legacy or the legends or the extended universe is great. Some of it is just such crap.
right.
There's no doubt about it. That's what most people say. Oh, the extended universe is like 75% of it is crap.
Yeah.
So I've kind of liked how Lucasfilm, group has cherry picked and brought things back in. I think
hmm
it's fun. It's an Easter eggy kind of thing. You certainly see it in Mando. I'm sure we're going to see more of it in the Book of Boba Fett and the other projects. Is funny because it's a different day. Extra and I just recorded over on Secret Friends Prime our 2022 predictions, which we were running through this long list of series that have no dates, but say they're coming out in 2022, and a lot of them are Star Wars. And I'm thinking, I'm looking forward to the little Easter eggs and cherry picks that are come out of that. That's going to bring in this EU stuff that has got all the neckbeards up in uproar. Like, well, I really want this thing or that thing. Rah, 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 rah. So we'll see. That's something else that I enjoy bringing in.
Uh,
Weird little stuff like that.
for me, I appreciate the approach to Visions where they said up front,
Mm-hmm.
this is not canon. If they weren't clear on that, and you had to guess and wonder
Right.
and pick, maybe that, oh, is this part canon? Is it, this was just like a fun kind of what if story,
Right.
and where what if Marvel is definitely canon. This stuff wasn't, but they were at least clear with it from the get go, and I appreciate that. But that's 2021. What are you looking forward to? We're in 2022. We have a whole year ahead of us full of content. Um, we're going to get into the Book of Boba Fett. Obviously, that's going to continue on this year. But
Right.
what new stuff? Is there anything announced so far that's really got
I mean,
got you running?
it's funny because that's exactly what we were talking about, on the show previously, and even just last night when we started this miraculous two-parter that you and I are recording, unintentional two-parter. That's what you can call it. It's an unintentional two-parter. That obviously the big projects for me, being someone who's not a gamer, and with the fact that there's no movie on the horizon, are the television projects that we've had, that we have in the pipeline. We have Kenobi, we have Andor, we have Book of Boba Fett, which is going on right now, and then we have season 3 of The Mandalorian. And April says, "Well, I really want to see, because I'm so invested in the story. Can season 3 of Mandalorian maintain direction without Baby Yoda / Grogu, which was the thing that everybody was so crazy about? It's all the marketing that you see and will for quite some time to come. What can the Mandalorian do without a cute little alien? You know what I mean? What's the storyline? I personally hope that it's going to be the retaking of Mandalore. Well, now Bo Karen and the wrestler chick plus Mando are going to take that light Imperial cruiser and ram it right up the rear end of the any Imperials that might be on Malastare, not Malastare, Mandalore. Thank you. I know it was an M
Right.
planet.
Yep. You got it.
Yeah, that's the one. But as I was talking to Todd, I'm cautiously optimistic about Kenobi because I don't want it to be like Obi-Wan hanging out on Tatooine, and again, Tatooine has just become the most. More of Star Wars has been set on Tatooine than anywhere else, and I
Yeah.
feel like it would be great if that was a trend that stopped. When you
Right.
got a galaxy full of planets spread out. I mean, a lot of them have been cataloged through various comic, licensed and canonical comics and books and video games, whatever. Spread out, go to a different planet. It's the comfort food aspect of it. It's let's put it somewhere some people know. I'm
It's tough with Kenobi because
right,
he's supposed to be this crazy old hermit who's stuck on Tatooine
right.
protecting Luke. So,
Where's the story?
but the thing is, it's never been established that he didn't leave Tatooine.
Right.
Like Luke calls him or Luke and his uncle, it's
Yeah.
like, oh, the crazy old hermit, what are you doing?
Right.
It's, oh, that no, old Ben Kenobi. Oh, he's just this guy that kind of lives in the desert. But we all assume that that's kind of where he stayed because
Right.
Yoda stayed put, and then Luke kind of eventually kind of stays put on his little island kind of thing, and
Right.
so that's kind of the go-to play, but like not really established that
Yeah.
that's the only place that he is. Like
Not at all. I mean,
this could start off on Tatooine, and he's like, "Hey, is Luke cool? Yeah, he's good.
right.
I'm gonna like flip off this way
Yeah.
and do
Right.
this stuff for
There's a
6
thing.
episodes,
Yeah,
and then come back."
there's a whatever, so and so got a distress call and I got to go find out if this is legit or whatever, and then he bumps into Vader and then that's their throwdown. Or if it's going to be anything like any of these other series, there'll be a healthy amount of flashbacks, and that's where I think you're going to see Hayden Christensen, because that's what I had said to Akshay. I said, you put anybody in that Darth Vader big black iron lung, you can put me in there. Maybe it is me in there. You don't know where I always am.
Right.
Maybe I went over there and did that. You have no idea. Could have done it in my backyard. They just put it in digitally. That's so yeah, I've got to imagine that we're going to see flashbacks of some variety. Is that going to bring Rosario Dawson in as Ahsoka? Who the hell knows? Or
Really cool.
other heritage characters maybe from the Clone Wars that could be making the transition from animation over to live action the same way that Bo-Katan did, or that you're going to see the evil Doctor Strange from What If do, and the Multiverse of Madness over on the Marvel side. So, which we saw in the trailer after at the end of Far From Home, or No Way Home. Excuse me for the spoiler.
Well, I saw the trailer. I did watch the trailer. I didn't know that was at the end of the movie.
Oh
but
shit, my bad.
So
Okay.
I haven't seen No
right,
Way
yeah,
Home yet
because they did make it public.
but they released the trailer.
I'm definitely very cautious about Kenobi. I'm really fired up for Andor because as well as I do, I love the Rebel Alliance. That's my most favorite part of Star Wars. It really is, because just from my own interest in watching the cutscene movies, I'm finally watching Squadrons. It's 4 hours long. The cutscenes from Squadrons, I wouldn't say I was maybe a quarter of the way through it because it's kind of a slow watch, but it's cool and I love it, and I love feeling like I'm in an X-wing cockpit. But I love the Battlefront 2 cutscenes, which was all a lot of it was kind of fighter pilot related, which I loved, and it's just kind of my jam. The cosplay that I do, my original character is an X-wing pilot, so I love the rebellion. I love the military aspect, but Andor has been teased as being a spy thriller, a military thriller, and that's kind of where I live. So I'm pretty fired up about that. And have they told us that they haven't told us Ahsoka for 2023 or 2022? That's a 23.
I don't think that's confirmed. No.
Or sooner. So yeah, but yeah, that was the math that Todd and I were doing as we were running through all these confirmed but no date programs, is that Disney Plus in particular seems to want to do one program at a time. So that week in particular, that Wednesday or that Friday or the Wednesday, they always do Wednesdays, it seems, that can be ruled for that week by that program. That's what's on. That's because for me it was Wednesday was Disney Plus, and then Thursday was the Star Trek. So it was Disney Plus Star Trek, Disney Plus Star Trek, but it was never really overlapping. And I think that the Star Trek people are running into the same thing because they did a split season to bring back Prodigy, which is the Nickelodeon cartoon that's going to be on for another month, and then they'll bring Discovery back, which was on the previous 7 weeks to finish its last 6 or 7 weeks, which pushes the second season of Star Trek Picard out of February, which was not originally what they planned because they don't want to overlap.
Right.
Even though in the old days they did, because they had a show in syndication, which is not really a thing anymore, and then they had a show on a network, which was UPN, Paramount Network, the fake network. But now everything is streamer, so they just kind of seem to want to do it one at a time,
which is cool if you're a Star Wars and a Marvel and a whatever else is going on fan. But
right?
if you're only watching the MCU stuff, or you only want the Star Wars stuff, that's a frustrating
Right.
kind of gap.
It's
right?
spaced out by 6 weeks or longer, or there's a delay or whatever. So no, I agree with you.
But anyway, I am very much looking forward to. I think my most anticipated one is Kenobi. Andor, I'm kind of like, I do kind of want to know more, but it's one of those things where it's like unproven ground kind of thing. Like we saw, I thought we saw such a contained story in Rogue One, and we saw kind of where the character was coming from, and obviously where that movie ended.
Right.
It was interesting and kind of self-contained, and for me, I have to kind of get my head around, like, no, we've seen where a lot of these characters meet their demise. I mean, if you want to look at even Kenobi in the first film that we saw in Star Wars, The New Hope, we saw his demise, and then we've gotten so much backstory on Kenobi with the prequel films, the Clone Wars, and then this series. Like, why can't we explore these characters after we've seen them die? So it's like,
Right.
for me, yeah, like they could do a ton of stuff with Andor that I
Right.
don't know that I want yet, and that's that maybe that'll be the surprise for me. And you could even say that with the MCU shows. Like, did I know that I wanted WandaVision? No.
Right.
Did I
Nope.
know that I wanted a full series based around Hawkeye?
Right.
Kind of, because I
Right.
loved the comics. But
Right.
like, did I
Totally.
think it was going to be that good?
Right, but
No.
they come out and they make it that great, and that's
That's it.
exactly the thing. The
So
MCU just can't miss. So is Star Wars going to
yeah,
become that same kind of engine? Well, I mean, we have the
maybe.
second live action series now happening, and
Hmm.
it's, we're going to talk about that first episode, and there's been a lot of opinions all over the board about it, but we'll talk about that in a sec. But
Yeah.
yeah, will
To
it turn into a dynasty like the MCU shows have in last year?
That's it. So I'm really looking forward to that. I can't wait for even Bad Batch season 2, which is supposed to be hitting this year, to get away from the live action stuff, but to get away from all of that we already kind of know about. Is there anything that Star Wars could do that hasn't been announced that would really tickle your fancy this year? What's something that they could do that would really get you going?
I mean, it's tough, because even though we're here in January, it's tough to think about that they could announce something and then have it produced and brought to market before the end of the year. But the biggest thing
Right.
is, this was one of Todd's predictions, is that at Star Wars Celebration they'll announce an actual film that's actually going to stick.
Ooh,
Which
okay.
you and I were really fired up about, Rogue Squad. Oh, Rogue
Yeah.
Squadron, that's going to be our jam. And then they said, yeah, it's dead, but then it kind of snuck back a little bit, and so maybe it's
Yeah,
alive.
it's not dead for sure.
Right. So that does, yeah. I mean, I want to learn that there's another film coming out. I want it to, tackle something different in the Star Wars universe. I want it to be a big spectacle, and something that we wouldn't. And it's weird to say, oh, something that's too big for TV. Well, nothing seems to be too big for TV, in this modern era. But yeah, where can they? It's dependent on doing something that's totally different. So maybe it's a KOTOR vibe. Maybe you dial
Mm.
it back 1,000 years, or you put it 1,000 years in the future, or you simply, it could be something as simple as going post sequel trilogy and showing us, what's the new Republic gonna be like.
That's what I want to see. I want
What's the next big thing
yeah.
that's going to threaten the fragility of peace of those who have overthrown evil? what's the next evil? You know what I mean? What comes next? It's it's going to be the Cylons. I know you haven't seen Battlestar Galactica, but evil robot lizards. You know, bring it on.
That's exactly what I want, and I'd love whether it's a series, and I'd love a series of Finn training to be a Jedi or freeing more ex stormtroopers or whatever with with that crew and Janna and the whole crew of ex stormtroopers. I'd love to see where Rey's story goes, Poe,
Right.
any of those characters that we've seen, whether that's a series that kind of tackles a few, but I'd love it to be centered around Finn for sure. But I'd also, yeah, I'd love to see what that next threat is. And I think I said that numerous episodes ago that, what is the next, what's the next big bad? What was
Right.
this person holding off? What was Palpatine? What was he wanted control? He wanted order, his order, and peace, right? He wanted to bring his version of peace to the galaxy, and I want to know what the lack of peace will unleash.
Right.
What is that thing that's hiding? What is he who remains? We'll go back to the MCU for a second. He's holding back some really dark stuff.
Right.
And if you know your Marvel, you know what I'm talking about. And I don't want to get too much more into it, but if Palpatine is he who remains, what was he holding back?
Right.
That's
Right.
what I want to see in Star Wars.
What's even worse? What's the bigger bad? What's something that it's going to take the real unity of the galaxy to string back, not just the bits and the tiny bit of what we saw at the end of Rise of Skywalker, where the normal folk of the world finally got together.
Exactly. And I want like a Mop Kid to be right up there with these Jedi, because there has to be a new balance to the Force, right? And I think hopefully we could see that explored, that it's maybe not quite the Jedi. I want to see some other Force users. I'm Jedi, Sith, that's great. Obviously I love the Jedi. I have it tattooed on my arm. But I also want to see, we've seen the Night Sisters, the Bendu, we've seen other versions of creatures that can manipulate the Force. We've seen a bit of that in Jedi Fallen Order, and that is actually my big one for this year. I'd love to see Jedi Fallen Order officially announced, if not released. But a surprise release date this fall would be amazing, with like a summer announcement, big E3 kind of thing. That's like my big dream. But yeah, I'd love to also see them explore some of the areas of the Force that we haven't seen too much in film. So there's a whole bunch of stuff that we could look forward to. And I'd love to know what our listeners are looking forward. So tweet at us, whether it's at Secret Friends U, at the C3, or at _Canardian. You can find us on any of those, and please let us know what you're looking forward to and where you think Star Wars should go.
You got it.
This year.
And in particular, our friends in Great Britain and Fiji.
Yes.
Nose. Yes. All
exactly.
Right. Are we ready Are we ready to move into the meat?
Let's get on to the complete written works of Robert Fettuccini. This is chapter 1. We've got a recap that basically, first off, I just want to know what you thought of this episode. Like, broad strokes, big picture.
The broadest strokes is that it I wouldn't say it delivered as far as action, but I think it started us on a slow burn to the why. Why did Boba Fett walk into Jabba's former palace and shoot Big Tuna? That's what Todd dubbed him, Big Tuna, because I said big fat Bib Fortuna. Say that 5 times fast, and he goes, Big Tuna, like from The Office. So he shoots Big Tuna, and why did he do that? What, it's kind of the classic actor trope. What's my motivation? What's the deal with Boba Fett? All we really knew about him is that he was a bounty hunter. He had the rep of being the deadliest around. If you read his backstory in the comics, all he cared about was money. He was ruthless. So why is he now coming in here and he's got, Fennec is basically his Chewbacca. because you saw that Han saved Chewie's life, so Chewie's stuck to him like glue for the rest of time. And
Mm-hmm.
it's kind of the same thing with Fennec and Boba. She tucks him in at night. She gets him up in the morning, gives him his bottle, gets it. Then the droids get him dressed. So yeah, this is it's kind of a weird slow burn of a start because
Right.
he spends half of the episode kind of in flashback, thinking about where we've got him to when. And this is where Oxford and I were kind of going loggerheads. Oh, it's so boring, and Star Trek's or Star Wars has got to check all the boxes and blah, 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 blah. So I'm like, yeah, but you also tipped off to the fact that what, Star Wars is very much fandom comfort food. People like to see he crawled out of the Sarlacc and you saw the wreck of the thing behind or whatever.
Can we stop there for a second?
Okay.
Just saying crawled out of the Sarlacc pit. Can we take a moment to appreciate? Are you a Parks and Rec fan?
Oh, yes.
What was that, 9 years ago? Patton Oswalt's little tirade filibuster on Parks and Rec, frigging nailed it.
Patton Oswalt is
beat.
Very special in my life. I've seen him in concert here in Grand Rapids a couple of years ago, but
Holy
I
crap.
have probably his collected works memorized. I love that man. I have a playlist on my Apple Music that's just stand up, and it's mostly
he's fantastic. But yeah, literally
right.
It beats down over the dunes of Tatooine,
right?
And suddenly the hand of the Mandalorian comes out of the sand and grips the side of the Sarlacc pit. It is. There are videos on YouTube. If you haven't seen them, they're floating around everywhere. I saw them YouTube and Instagram today, and even showing my wife, who loves Parks and Rec and is like a come and go Star Wars fan. She'll watch some of it, whatever. She kind of passively watched the Book of Boba Fett with me, and when I showed her that comparison of Patton Oswalt basically narrating what happens, and they do it shot for shot, and she's like, "No, that's not real." And I was like, "This is legitimately what he said as he said it, and they filmed it just that way."
Oh my gosh,
someone had to do that on purpose. Come on. That is fantastic.
Somebody's a big fan. So,
anyway, keep going.
Yeah, but just to encapsulate it, not the single greatest episode of a television program I've ever seen.
Right.
There was a lot of backstory. There was a lot of setup. So my question is that what am I going to see at 5:00 tomorrow morning when I turn on the TV for episode 2? I'm willing to accept that this was a transition. That this is going to be, and again, we got 7 episodes, so this is not going to be, this is not the English Patient. This is not Gandhi. It's not going to be never-ending story beats that potentially we've got to wait for what feels like a real lifetime. But yeah, it was okay with me that it was slow, because I still found parts of it that were, and again, it's all very Easter egg heavy. You had the sand monster that looked like something out of Ray Harryhausen.
Great.
You had the Rodian that was voiced by Sam Witwer, who is Star Wars Legacy now.
Love it.
So yeah, Star Wars is going to continue to be filled with these little Easter eggs. It's okay. Mm-hmm. It's what they do. It's what Marvel does. This is where Oxford and I just are loggerhead. I think he's kind of looking for love in all the wrong places when it comes to Star Wars. Alderaan places. That's the old adage. Looking for love in Alderaan places. Star Wars is going to be like this is because this is what the people who actually can admit that they like it, like this kind of stuff. And so it's going to be like this. So for better or for worse, sometimes I like it, sometimes I don't, but I'm accepting of it. It's okay.
So Todd said something in our Discord channel, and little plug to join the Discord channel. We got like 4 new people joined today, a bunch of people that I know, which was really cool. But Todd said, I'll just read this straight up. I don't think we needed all the details of how he escaped the pit, how he lost his armor, how he befriended the Tusken Raiders. Some mystery is okay. It would be cool to see some of Boba's adventures or bounties that happened before we met him in the OT, if we're getting more flashbacks. I don't think we need to find out how he got his ship or a story behind his armor. I think we'll get the Tusken Raiders coming to his rescue in current time. There's a lot to unpack there,
and I will punctuate with a theory, which is one of our bullet points. I think all his Tusken pals are dead. That's why he was roaming around the desert by himself. I think something wiped them out.
Ooh,
whether it was the Great
okay.
Dragon, whether it was another clan, whether it was a this, whether it was a that.
Mm.
Um, I think that might be something that's driving him. It may be what the reason maybe the big reason he went and shot Big Tuna in the face is that it was Jabba's thugs that took out his crew. That
That could
that's
be
my vibe.
very like, and they did show that crew that was kind of, they were graffitiing a house and looked like they were
Right,
setting it on fire, that kind of thing.
right.
I'm wondering if that was, yeah, tied into one of the crime gangs, and if Jabba's the head of that, then everything kind of, shit rolls downhill.
True.
And but when you're gonna flush, you start with the big one. So
Well,
he's
that was Jabba, but yeah,
that
Big Tuna was
but and if he can't
was the next
shoot
big
Jabba in the
turd.
face, then he's going to shoot Bib Fortuna, and that's what we see.
Right.
So to Todd's point, though, I really, it to me it reads like Todd's kind of wanting all of the episodes all at once, so he knows everything that's going on. And as a standalone episode, maybe this wasn't the strongest, but
Mhm.
again, I've said this before, for these shows, they love to set things up. This Filoni verse, they love to set things up that are going to pay off later. So one, again, those raiders or thugs they're tagging the house, think that's going to come back. The flashbacks, I think we needed to kind of get a little bit of that, and I think we'll have maybe either more bounties or working with people, and we got a tiny bit of that. Like, I used to work for that guy. This is
Right.
awkward. And
Right.
Fennec comes up with you think it's awkward for you, it's way more awkward for him.
No doubt.
We also had the little assassin ninjas. Are
Right.
they just a random ninja gang that hears about a power vacuum? Are they something a little bit more tied into the universe? Could this be
Mhm.
something from Crimson Dawn, or a gang that we know about?
That's what they keep, man. Now we're and now
Maybe.
and now there are rumors making the mill that Harrison Ford was seen on set, and could they be
Hmm.
de-aging Han Solo to stick him in this?
Oh,
I don't know, but it would be better
maybe.
if they stuck in new Solo in there, Alden Irons. Why
Yeah.
wouldn't they just stick him in there? He's Solo in this kind of, but I mean, whatever.
Well,
That's
because
just the
he's
thing,
not quite right, because this is 5 years after Return of the Jedi,
right?
6 years maybe. Yeah,
So
so
uh,
six,
a, a,
seven, whatever, by the
a,
time this all
a,
happens. So
a younger slash older, really, it would be Harrison Ford, about 1987 or so. So think about Indiana Jones and the Last Crusade.
right.
Harrison Ford looking like that. So a little older, a little grayer, a little more wrinkly.
Mhm.
But yeah, but you're right. And that was something that, again, we were talking about when Oxford and I were talking just now, is that the big drop that Netflix does, like, here's all 8 episodes of blah blah blah, versus this weekly rollout. So it's building the buzz, it's building the excitement
Mhm.
towards something enormous that's going to be a payoff, and that's what I mean. Mandalorian did that for us. It took us the
Yeah.
long way around to find a Jedi, and it gave us one Jedi, but then it gave us Luke Skywalker, and nobody saw it coming, and
No.
it was amazing.
Do you think this could have been stronger to drop the first 2 episodes? So you get this flashback heavy thing, and then
Right. You get
if
something a little more
if
present.
tomorrow's episode happens more in the now,
Right.
the present for this show, I'm really wondering if they do have a very strong second episode.
Mhm.
I'm wondering if it maybe would have been better to drop the first 2, because I've heard
Right.
that a lot. Like, the pacing was a little slow. I want to see what happens next. And maybe because it is 7 episodes, could they have dropped 2 and we still get that 6-week rollout that we've kind of used to
Right.
with some of these shows? I'm wondering that, but
I
um,
agree. I agree. But again, here we are. So
that's
I'm
it.
not. I'm
It's
not sure, and
I,
it could
yeah,
fall in lockstep with whatever Disney Plus has planned next, though they've not told us. But next week we might find out. And now this Marvel show is going to be on because, like
right.
I said, they've only got 52 weeks now, 51 weeks, and they really got to start cranking these things out there. So
Hmm.
we'll have something else pretty soon.
And I, like, don't get me wrong, I'm very happy with this first episode. I thought it was great. I watched it again today, and
Hmm.
very much enjoyed it on the second run through, and look forward to the rest of the series for sure. So when I started hearing people not happy with it, I was like, what were you happy with? It was kooky. It was
Right.
there was some fun action. I did love that. For me, one of the few Boba Fett lines in the original trilogy was, you get the no disintegrations. Okay, kind of, whatever, like the
Hmm.
disappointed kind of thing. And what's one of the first things he does when he gets into a fight? he hits that guy with his wrist rocket, and
Yeah.
he disintegrates.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, the last guy's not getting away. Boink.
But I
Yeah.
love that it wasn't like an explosion, and you see that happen in Star Wars all the time. The person explodes, they get the the
Yeah, right.
scream, kind of
The Wilhelm.
the
Yeah.
Wilhelm scream, and you see the person kind of flipping or moving along. This
Right.
guy did not flip. He did not pratfall off the building that he was climbing up. He fricking disintegrated,
Well,
and I
that
love that.
reminds
I,
me of
so
Mando in
good,
season 1 with all the Jawas and how he was zapping them. And if you watch
right?
Baby Yoda with subtitles, which was a YouTube artist that was doing these, so you'd see Baby Yoda go, "Ha ha ha, die trash."
It was great. I just
Oh,
love those little things, man. Like you said, that they throw these little things in that if you're paying attention, you're gonna notice one or two things. I love Fennec Shan. Anything we can get, and every 30 seconds, her being like, "You want me to kill him, boss?" And
yeah.
him being like,
So
"No,
so that's a no.
don't."
That's a no. Like he's
Yeah.
holding the invisible like ring. Oh, down boy. Rawr, 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 rawr. The
And
pit
even
bull.
when like he disintegrates a guy,
You're
like I
right.
said, and then looks at her and she's ready to chase the final two, and he's like, "Alive, please." It's like you just disintegrated one of them.
Yeah, right.
Like you could have, I'm sure he has a grapple hook somewhere or something like
Right.
that he could have wrapped around that guy's legs and brought him in and then said, Fennec, go kill those two.
Right.
Like,
He was pissed. He's emotional. He's
right?
a
Like,
guy.
I
He
love it.
might be a clone, but he's a clone of a man. So he gets a little.
That's,
He gets
you know,
he gets his Irish up a little bit. I get that.
but then to turn around and say like, we need at least one of them alive, and she delivers, but fantastically. But like, I thought it was a great first episode. Maybe a little flashback heavy, and we could have
Right.
seen some of this happen over the few episodes. But
Right.
again, we don't know what's coming, and there could
Right.
be
And they could be
the whole series could be this flashback heavy with a little bit of the
right.
power vacuum, Boba being the crime boss kind of thing. So who knows? I'm
Right.
very much looking forward to tomorrow.
That's my big theory. I think that the reason he went and shot Big Tuna in the face is that he realized that it was a race to the bottom with Jabba's organization. He wants to instead of he wants to rule with respect, not fear. He still wants to be a
That's it.
crime boss, but he wants everybody to. And it looks like if many of the clips that we've seen are all part of the first episodes, they're going to have a big conference. And they're going to sit down and have a powwow and say, I'm your new, basically I'm your new stepdad. These are the rules, and here's what's up. So yeah, I'm willing to be patient. I still just love being back in the world because it's been a whole
Mm,
year in between since we've had live action Star Wars, which is my favorite kind of Star Wars for sure. And on TV, live action Star Wars on TV has just become my jam. Love Mandalorian as much as I do. So,
yep.
2022 is going to be absolutely massive if we do get these three projects. Two projects. Well, okay, this is the other two projects. If we get all of it, I think it's going to be really amazing. So I'm fired
Yeah.
up.
Absolutely. I agree with your excitement and your sentiment. For this one, like you said, yeah, it's only gonna, I think, keep getting better. So
Mm-hmm.
I'm very much looking forward to the exploits. And I said something. My wife, like I said, watched this one with me, and I don't know if she'll stick around for the full series, but she was there in the room, and I said, I'm
Mm-hmm.
gonna watch this if you want to stick around, cool. But she kind of likened it to the oceans, like the oceans movies, right? Like he's a
Okay.
bad guy, but he's kind of a gentleman thief, if you will. He's a
Right.
gentleman crime boss. So that
Right.
we haven't really seen a ton of that, especially not in Star Wars.
Yeah. Yeah.
It's usually
You're
black and white,
It's
good
very
versus
black and white.
evil.
Well,
It's
you have like maybe Han and Lando were smugglers, but in the end of it,
right.
they make a choice where they're going to help the rebellion and they become heroes. But
Hmm.
yeah, Boba may not end up being a hero in that sense that, I'm going to get involved in galactic events and I'm going to do this thing or that thing to help the New Republic. He's not going to do that. But if he can find a way to make things a little bit better and kind of take all the suffering that he's endured in that 5 years in between the end of Jedi and when we meet him again at the beginning of Mando season 2, he's
Hmm.
going to be able to take all of that suffering and make his world a better place. Maybe that's as heroic as he needs to be.
Yeah.
I
Yeah.
mean,
I kind of want to see that.
yeah, me too.
It doesn't
Me
have
too.
to be big global or galactic scale, right? Like
Right.
this could be just like, he's on his little corner of Tatooine, and he might
Mhm.
expand out a little bit, but he also might just kind of like stick it close to home and be
Right.
like,
Make it
this
work.
is this is what I'm doing. I'm kind of, Robin Hood and some other kind of shady characters all mixed into one, like,
Right.
simple man trying to make his way through this part of the galaxy. Right? I love it. Can't
Shooting
wait.
big tuna in the face.
That's
Pew!
it. That's it.
Oh, big
So
tuna.
again, I want to hear what our listeners are thinking of the Book of Boba Fett. By the time people listen to this, episode 2 will be dropped. Our next episode, we will cover episode
2.
2 and 3, thanks to our bi-weekly
Right.
schedule. So it's going to be fun. We're going to go through these after tonight. After this episode, we're going to be tackling 2 at a time until this series is over, and then we'll get back to tackling the series and the movies and all that kind of good stuff. So it's a great time to be a Star Wars fan. I don't know. I'm excited. Like every time a new show or something drops, I just get excited again.
I know. Me
And
too. Yeah, it rekindles. I
yeah,
always say my fandom goes in phases. It's a triangle. It's Star Wars, Star Trek, Marvel.
yeah,
And I can't always pin it down to a certain time of year, but it's like end of the year. Maybe it was because we got Star Wars movies, since 2015. Our Star Wars movies, ended up being in December. So like kind of end of the year, beginning of the year, I'm all about Star Wars. And then, we didn't really have Star Trek at that time, so I'd be back watching older episodes later on. But now my life is all those things because I do podcasts about those three things.
hmm
Counting Marvel as being a big chunk of the Secret Friends Unite that I do with Todd. But Code 47 is all about Star Trek. It's biweekly. This show is all about Star Wars. It's biweekly. So it's all kind of glommed into one. I'm thinking and watching all the things now. So it's inescapable.
absolutely, absolutely. Like I said, I want to hear what our listeners are thinking. So Charlie, I think this is probably a good place to wrap the episode up
It up. Good deal. Yes.
and tell people where they can find us and how they can let us know what they're thinking of the Book
You
of Boba
got it.
Fett.
Well, the big tuna is us over on Twitter at Secret Friends You. You can also find yours truly on Twitter at the C3. Spell it out. You can find me. We're also over on Facebook. I populate that content for the most part. It's a discussion group.
hmm
So we also do have our Discord server. I'm not as great at that as the other guys are, but I'm trying. But it
We're
is
all over
there.
the place. You don't
We're
have
all
to
over the
be
place. You
all
bet.
into every single one. Yeah, like
you just you you just pick something you dig,
yeah,
and we'll
that's
be
it.
there to have a conversation or to share a story or to have a chat. I also run, I always like to plug the International Star Trek Fan Club chapter here in Michigan, the USS Grand Petoskey, which is at a website of the same name, and then also over on Twitter and Facebook. So that's me.
Excellent. And you can find me on Instagram and Twitter at @the_Canardian. And like in all the places that Charlie already said, especially over on Discord. Like I said, I'm trying to grow that a bit more. So I got some of my friends to join it today. And it's not it's kind of like our whole podcast kind of feel. It's not focused just on Star Wars. If you want that, there is a Star Wars section, but there's also stuff for video games. Or the people that joined today, we kind of started a Minecraft chat. So
Ooh.
some people that I play Minecraft with, and I'm not great at Minecraft, so they're teaching me how to do stuff. Charlie, you will be actually happy as a comic book fan. So in Minecraft, you kind of build whatever you want, or you kind of mine and
I've
craft
I,
things, right?
I've watched I watched my son play many
Vaguely
times. So
familiar
yeah.
with it. So I decided, because we had just watched some of the Lord of the Rings movies, my wife and I, over the holidays, and so when I joined, I said, you know what, I'm going to build my home in the side of this mountain. And so I started just basically hollowing out the mountain like some kind of dwarf orc kind of thing. I was like,
Like a Keebler elf
I'm
howling out.
gonna dig a hole in a cave, and that's where I'm gonna do my business. And the hole in a cave has turned into now what I'm calling almost the Batman Tower, because I built this
Wayne
tall
Tower. Yes.
watchtower with a glass floor that I can look over our whole village that's growing, and
Nice.
so that's fun. But I also started tunneling down just to see what was underneath my house, and I came across what can only be described as the Batcave. It is massive.
Ooh,
I have only explored a tiny little bit of it so far, and
that's
it's just
deep.
this massive tunnel cave system that's naturally in the world that I didn't, I dug the tunnels down to it, but I didn't know where I was going to end up. And I kept joking. I was no, this is my tunnel to the Batcave, and it's ridiculously long and just convoluted. And I was like, no, it's going to be a Batcave. Don't worry about it. And all the people that I play with are like, you're ridiculous. Just do something productive. And it actually opened up into the Batcave. And I'm like,
no productive.
Yeah. I sent a screenshot the second I found it.
Oh my gosh.
What I found, guys, it is
wild.
the Batcave.
Wild stuff.
That is ridiculous. So long story short, join our Discord. There's a whole bunch of stuff going on there, and it's all fun. And cool. You can find those links over at secretfriendsunite.com. So
all right.
Thanks.
You got it. All right. And so that's going to take us out of here. Friends, thank you for joining us. As always, I'm going to say that sharing is caring and to keep on trucking.
# Blackout Star Wars Eclipse. May the Force be with you. Rex, play us out. Also, we saw Rex during the episode, or someone that looked like Rex.
Yeah.
So he was doing the playing card thing. Don't know if that's Rex. But maybe that'll be explained.
It's Easter Egg Haven. Maybe he'll come back and he'll have his own flashback subplot. You don't know.
There we go.
This podcast is part of the Secret Friends Unite podcasting network. Visit secretfriendsunite.com for more great shows, articles, news, reviews, and more. Secret Friends Unite podcasts are available on Apple, Google, Spotify, and other podcast services around the world. If you'd like to be part of the conversation, you can join us on Facebook or our new Discord server, or follow at Secret Friends U on Twitter. Please subscribe to Secret Friends Unite on YouTube and visit our merch store at tpublic.com. Just search Secret Friends Unite. Thanks for listening.